Hello everyone, today we will see how the UV spectrophotometer works. So UV spectrophotometers usually used to detect any biological materials or any chemical present in the solution. So it uses electromagnetic spectra which contain both UV and visible. So based on that, it named after that UV spectrophotometer. So it spectra content ranges from 200 to 800 nanometer. The UV having 200 to 400 nanometer wavelength, and after 400 to 800 it comes under the visible light. So basic mechanism involved in this, that it has a one lamp which generate UV visual spectra from 200 to 800 nanometer, and that spectra passes to monochromator which split these light into their wavelength and which orient them accordingly, and it allow them pass to the sample one by one, and then after passing sample absorb, and few lights get transmitted light get detected by the detector, and then they send to the signal to the recorder, and then we get output on the display. So this was the basic mechanism involved in a UV spectrometer. Let's go and now see how we use the UV spectrophotometer to analyze. Or so usually UV spectrophotometer having two section, for one for reference, one for sample, but the currently which I will show you has only one slot for cuvette. So before doing a sample, we do only once for referencing, that is a blanking, then we do sample multiples time. That is the advantage of this UV spectrophotometer. Let's see it. So this is the UV spectrophotometer, as you can see it, and this is the model of the UV spectrophotometer. On the left side we can see that the chamber for cuvette, where we keep it, where we place it. In my hand you can see the cuvette. The placement of cuvette is very essential, that the clear part should be in such a way that the light should pass through that. Before the starting the experiment, you must blank. You do the blanking. For blanking, I will use the distilled water for this. So we will pour it very gently so that bubbles should not form inside the cuvette, and it should be sufficient quantity. After pouring the water, every time you must clean the transparent side so that there should not be any particles on clear side, and place it so very gently to this slot and close it. Before doing the blanking, let me tell you that there is already pre-fitted tools in this UV spectrophotometer, so you do not have to. As you can see here, it has already, like if you want to do drinking water methods, so like a phosphate, color, silica, chlorine, you can do in this. Let's do the blanking for our sample. So now for blanking we will click on scan, we will click on plus icon. Before doing blanking, we must write the name. This is our blank, so name will be blank. Now we can change what we want, absorbance or transmissions. So based on our requirement we will set. We can change the interval. Right now it is on 2 nanometer. We can change the speed of this once every setup is done, now we have two, on this graph we have two poles. We can see that represent lower and upper limit. Now we will click the blanking. It started blanking. It will take few seconds to complete this blanking, and after doing the sample, the plot will be, the graph will be on x and y axis. Y axis represent the absorbance, and where x axis represent the wavelength. As and you can see the area section also. We can, now the blanking has completed. We will open the chamber and we will take it this cuvette very gently and discard our blank. Now we will pour our sample into this cuvette very gently so that the product should not spill out the cuvette. Every time you, before keep in spectrophotometer, we must clean the clear transparent side of the cuvette. And now gently we will place it into the slot and we will close it. Now we will name this sample. We are doing trial, so I will write here trial. After writing, now click on measure. So it will start measuring our sample. So it will start from higher wavelength and it will go towards the lower wavelength. The scanning has completed. Now we can do multiples of time. Right now I will do the single time here, and we can shift this two lines. If we want to see the absorbance at any particular wavelength, we can zoom in, zoom out. If we want to see the absorbance at particular wavelength like 660, simply we will click on and we will select the wavelength 660 and we measure. So if we can see here, absorbance at 660 is 0.622. This is how we do the UV spectrophotometer. Now before ending experiment, we must write the experiment name. So here we will write it same trial, and after writing we will end the experiment. If here it get closed, if we want to see the where our experiment is, so we can see that on the top the today's date, and there is a trial at the top. Before that already 3 experiments were done. So but we will click on trial and we can see here the today's experiment which just now done. We can take the measurement. So this is how we use UV